Hi there, this is Kelli with Kellibaresall, and today we're going to be making pumpkin pie cupcakes. It's a mix between both a cupcake and a pumpkin pie, so it's not really cakey, but it's not all custard, so it's going to be really warm, chewy deliciousness without the crust. First we're going to start with mixing our dry ingredients, and I am going to be using whole wheat pastry flour. I always use this when I'm doing baked goods as opposed to the white bleached flour. It's a lot healthier, there's some great nutrients in it, and actually you can never taste the difference. So my recommendation is if you're going to be making any kind of baked goods or sweets or pastries, at least give it a try on something with a little trial and error, but I've never had any problem being able to convert one to the other. Okay, so we're going to start by doing, let's see, 2/3 cup flour, and this is actually my cup, so let me get a 1/3 cup. It's the only one that I didn't have ready today. Okay. So 2 is 1/3. And then 2/3. Then we're going to be mixing, we're going to do both baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And if you haven't replaced your baking soda or your baking powder in a while, it's probably time to. I've had a couple occasions where I started to make some cookies and they turned out really flat and I couldn't figure out why. And it was because there is an expiration date on these powders. So this is going to be a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I am using some black sea salt. I prefer to use sea salt in my food instead of regular salt. I don't really have white sea salt right now, so it's going to be black. Sometimes it makes it fun and colorful, and sometimes it makes it look kind of gross, but since we're going to be putting it in the custard, it's going to end up melting out, so you won't even see the color. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of mix all this together. It's not much. And then next, put it over here. Next we're going to be mixing our wet ingredients. We're going to start with 1 can of pumpkin puree, and I'm going to do a 15-ounce can. And then we'll be doing a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I like to keep my sugars in these airtight containers so they constantly stay soft, because any other way I've always had rock hard brown sugar, and that's just really not ever as good tasting. Okay. And then we're going to do a 1/2 cup of regular sugar, and I substitute my regular sugar with raw sugar. You can use either, but I just prefer to use the raw sugar, and it's an equal balance. So if you decide to do the white sugar, you still do 1/2 cup. But if you want to try the raw sugar, you can get it at Costco in a big bag. There's half a cup. And then we'll be doing 3/4 a cup of half and half. And today I didn't have half and half, so I did half the mixture of 2% and the other half of heavy whipping cream. Okay. Then we'll be doing, actually I'm going to do my pumpkin pie seasoning first, so my teaspoon doesn't get all sticky from the vanilla. Let's see. Okay, so we're doing 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie seasoning. There we go. It was a little bit short, so just add a little bit in. That's what we do. Alright, and then 1 teaspoon vanilla. And then the last ingredient is 2 eggs. I think the trick with not getting eggshells in is never crack it more than once, because anytime you crack an egg more than once, I think I always get eggshells in it. So even if you don't do a good job the first time, just pry it open or dump it in a bowl first so you don't end up with eggshells in your pumpkin pie cupcakes. Okay, so now we're going to take this to the mixer, get it all mixed in, and then I'll be adding the dry ingredients with it, and from there we'll move on to putting it in the cupcake holders. I'll show you what that looks like. So you've got that nice custardy liquid pumpkin stuff. And then I'm just going to slowly add the dry ingredients to it. Now scrape the sides of the bowl once. Make sure everything got incorporated. And then mix for a couple more minutes. And then from there, we'll start getting this baking sheet ready and dropping these things on the floor. Let's see. Okay, because it's not necessarily like a cupcake, what you want to do is actually spray the inside of the paper cups, because what's going to happen is after they bake and after it cools a bit, it's going to start to stick on the sides. So if you're going to want to eat it, you're going to have to lick the paper unless you get it nice and greased up. That should be good. Alright, this looks perfect. As you can see, just nice and custardy. Okay, so then you're just going to want to get about 2/3 filled. And when they bake, they're not going to bake up like a cupcake would. They're going to bake more like a custard. So they might rise a little bit in the oven, but they're also going to indent in the middle. So when they start to cool down and you're ready to serve them, you can just use that little indent to fill with the whipped cream. And it's perfect. going to try to not have to make another pan because that's a lot of work for 1 or 2 cupcakes. Plus, I don't need 12 cupcakes. I'll probably end up eating all of them. So this recipe does make about 12, so if you're looking to bring more, just double the recipe. Okay. And that's about all of it. That should be perfect. And I preheated my oven to 350. We'll stick them in and give them about 15-20 minutes or so. And we'll let that go. Okay, so it's been about 22 minutes. I pulled it out of the oven, and I've actually let mine cool for a few minutes. The next thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of whipped cream. And you can see after they cool, they start to slouch down a little bit in the middle. That's normal. That's really what you want it to do. And then just put a little bit of whipped cream on it. And I like to take a little bit of cinnamon. Sprinkle some cinnamon on top, and then you serve them. I'm not going to whip cream all mine right now because I'm actually going to do it right before serving. So there's this one. I added a little paper cup because they start to get translucent after they bake. But like I said, the whipped cream will end up melting. I would recommend doing it right before serving. Put that on, peel the wrapper, eat it up, and you're all done. So that's it today for Kellibaresall. Thank you so much.